Episode 70, Worshipping False Gods. Shubhnam had begun to feel hungry now. She did have a little money stowed away in her inner clothes, but here on the road connecting to the highway, it would be difficult to take it out. She didn't have a watch or her cell phone, so Shubhnam had no idea what time it was or how much time had passed since she called up Reena. Shubhnam, without realizing it, was staring hungrily at the kiosk on the opposite side selling corn cobs. The smell of the cobs being roasted on the chulha with butter was really making her mouth water and increasing her hunger by the minute. But Shubhnam wasn't really bothered about her hunger because she was scared. She was crouching behind the huge tree stump and was looking sharply on both sides of the road. Shubhnam was praying that Reena would reach here quickly. Finally, she saw the small white car of Reena slowly coming towards the corn kiosk. Shubhnam knew that giving Reena the corn kiosk as a landmark was such a foolish thing to do. There were at least 20 such kiosks lined up on both sides of the highway between the rail circle and the metro circle. But then there was no other building in sight. Reena spotted Shubhnam and the two friends drove away hurriedly from there. There are certain stories where you find it difficult to pinpoint exactly the beginning. So I don't know what was the beginning point of Shubhnam's story. Was it when her dad and mom began to fight over the most petty things? Or maybe when her mom would tell her dad that the amount he brought home every month was the amount her family spent on servants? Or perhaps when Shubhnam's father had to send away his mother to his younger brother's place because Shubhnam's mother refused to take care of the old woman. God knows when did it all begin. My earliest memories of my friendship with Shubhnam were marred by tales of her parents fighting. Her little brother Shoaib would run to us for comfort. However, for Shubhnam, apart from me, there was no one she could really talk to. Gradually, I saw Shubhnam drifting away from family and then slowly from friends too. She told me bluntly that she was jealous of the way all her friends were living a normal family life. I could see that Shubhnam was not able to find any direction, any coherence in her life. She had no one or nothing to bind her and make her fall in love with life. She would mechanically get up, finish her daily chores and go to her office. I tried to give her as much solace as I could, but really, that wasn't enough. In the month of March, there came a long period when I couldn't speak to Shubhnam. Her phone was constantly switched off. Alarmed, one day I went to her office. Her colleague told me that she was on leave for 10 days and had gone to some kind of a camp. I was quite confused. I made her colleague promise me that when Shubhnam comes back, she should call me. For the first time in years, I saw Shubhnam happy and at peace with herself. She had gone to a small village some 200 kilometers away to attend a Babaji's camp. Babaji was a healer and understood all the problems of everyone. He had explained the mysteries of life to Shubhnam so wonderfully well. I was aghast because Shubhnam never believed in all these Babaji types, nor did I. Then why had she consented to go? Let's listen to her in her own words. When I first heard Babaji, it was his wonderful voice that struck me. Calm, unhurried, soothing, and very welcoming. A colleague had taken me to his darbar. I had gone very reluctantly, but the moment I heard him, Reena, I was thoroughly attracted. When I sat in front of him, he immediately told me, "बहुत परेशान हो बेटा. You are not able to tolerate this jhanjat, this constant everyday fighting around you. है ना?" I was stunned. How did Babaji get to know all of this? He just smiled and continued in his beautiful voice. God has created a very balanced universe. We are part of that balance, and we have to remain balanced. But we usually worry about situations and people that are not under our control. In fact, we allow them to control our lives. We allow them to decide when to laugh, when to get disturbed, and when to become depressed. We don't pay attention to our talents meanwhile. हमको ये सब सीखना होगा. We have to become indifferent to forces and people who are forever trying to upset our universe balance. बेटी, तुम आर्टिस्ट हो ना, तो अपने आर्ट पे ध्यान दो. My God, Babaji was bang on. I loved to sketch since childhood. In fact, I could make very good cartoons. So what was I doing? Allowing mom and dad to upset my balance? Why was I paying attention to their constant fighting, their constant bickering? I decided that I will now only live for myself. I would close my room and pay no attention to mom and dad. One day, mom had high fever. She asked me to take her to the doctor. But I remembered Babaji's words, "Become indifferent to people who are upsetting your balance." I refused to take her, and instead I turned around and got lost in my sketches. After a few days, I got a call from Babaji's assistant that there was another camp being held some 50 kilometers away from our city. I was overjoyed. I wanted to be rejuvenated and again discover that inner peace and calm. I was so thrilled when Babaji asked me to sit in the front row during his talk. His voice and his words once again enthralled me. On the third day, Babaji invited me to have dinner with him. I seriously felt that my life will become complete now. After dinner, I thought that Babaji will retire to his room to sleep, as he must be quite tired. But Babaji didn't show any signs of tiredness. In fact, he appeared to be quite energetic. And then Babaji began to speak about the female body and its desires. He told me that these desires should not be left incomplete or pending, and that they should be satisfied immediately. Even before I could understand what he meant by this, Babaji stood up and pulled me to him. He began to kiss me everywhere, on the cheeks, on the neck, and finally on my lips. I didn't know what was happening. What the hell was Babaji doing? I didn't want to be kissed by him. After a few seconds, I guess my mind began to work again. I tried to push him away, but he had such an iron grip on me. Finally, I could pull myself away from him. I was stunned and looked up to him with fear, hurt, and total dread. But Babaji stood there smiling at me. He said, "You have so much emotion pent up inside you, girl. So many sentiments that are struggling to come out. I have just provided a little outlet to them, beautiful pari. अभी बहुत कुछ है तेरे अंदर जो मुझे बाहर निकालना है बच्चे. Slowly I will take out everything, and then you will feel free and liberated." I timed my escape from the camp after lunch the next day. I shudder to think what would have happened to me if I had not run away from the camp. I found a kind villager who lent me his cell phone. I called up Reena, the only person whose number I knew from memory. No, don't even ask me how shattered, crestfallen, and depressed I am right now. I feel so used and so humiliated. I thought that this man was almost a god for me and he will show me the right path. But all he was interested was in my body. I don't have it in me to go to the police and complain and fight a long legal battle. But I want to tell each one of you, be careful. बहुत होशियार रहना. Don't make humans into gods. And never ever worship false gods.